How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Heavy Middle. This is issue number 24 from March 1979, and this is volume 2, number 11, for those of you guys who keep track of the issues that way. Also, really quick before we get in, I cover classic heavy metal as well as modern heavy metal, and I know that issue number 307 is out, but I just haven't got a chance to read it yet, so I'll get to that pretty soon. But right now I want to cover this one. And this one, first off, let's talk about this cover. This has got to be one of my favorite heavy metal covers. The classic heavy metal logo in the striking black and white, and then these two tanks just absolutely mashing into each other. It is really cool, an epic battle. You know, you get this one with this claw here and like some sort of pusher thing. But one thing I just noticed that I didn't notice until looking at it recently is the very bottom. You get people running away. So that guy, and then this guy over there, which means these are giant tanks. Like these spikes on the tires are as big, if not bigger, than people. So how big are these tanks? The size of buildings, and they're just mashing into each other. Giant buildings crashing into each other. That is super cool. Another cool thing, you get a back cover for this one. A lot of classic heavy metal has uninterrupted artwork on the back cover, so you get this warrior atop a snowy mountain there, and he's looking into space, and you see this big purple moon and another little moon over there. A really cool blend, you know, fantasy meets sci-fi and stuff. I really do love the old-timey uninterrupted art back covers, so that's pretty cool. Flip it open, and there's two ads at the beginning I want to show you. They're just really fun, you know. First off, you've seen the movie, you've read the book, now you can read the shirts. And it's National Lampoon's Animal House shirts. This is before you could just order a shirt anywhere. You had to get them from the mail when they offered them. So yeah, the John Landis film Animal House. And for those of you guys who don't know this, heavy metal was originally Middelholland in France. The company that brought it over and made it heavy metal in America also was the company that made National Lampoon, which makes this ad make a lot of sense. You know, they're essentially sister magazines, so cool to see the ad for Animal House shirts. And then the next ad's also really fun. In Ted Nugent's hands, a guitar becomes a deadly weapon. And then you see it's a guitar, but it's also a rifle, and he's playing / shooting it. And this is for the album Weekend Warriors, which includes the hits Need You Bad, on Epic Records and Tapes. So a pretty cool ad there. Gotta love old-timey advertisements. An original painting, you know, that's pretty cool. Let's flip it next to the contents if you guys want to see exactly what all's in this magazine and the credits for who did it. Here's your chance to pause as I pan over this and see all the information you might want about this magazine. So there's the table of contents, and that being said, after this we're going to talk about the stories in this magazine. But in regards to the stories, I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the stories are about, but I'm not going to cover any of the twists, you know, just a setup. And also being said, stories that are continuous stories, you know, multi-chaptered stories, if they're not in chapter 1, I'm going to kind of gloss over them really quick because it's hard to talk about a story from the middle, and that includes the first two. This is the new tales of the Arabian Nights, Sinbad and the Land of the Jinn, and you get to see Heavy Metal's continuing Sinbad story. This is one of the multi-part ones, and in this part you get to see Sinbad hiding in this treasure room, and he's hiding in there, and the two big bads of the story, this giant and this beautiful woman, come in, and they don't know that he's hiding in there. So, you know, a pretty cool try to escapes type story there. So, that's cool, but like I said, it's in the middle. Up next, we have another continuing story. This is from Moebius, and of course, off the bat, I want to apologize for the censorship. It's not my idea. YouTube is pretty strict, and I work hard for my videos. I don't want them pulled, you know. But anyway, this is the airtight garage of Jerry Cornelius, and you get to see this guy comes aboard their ship, and you get to see he wants a room, and he talks to this bug person, and the bug person will talk about the plights of his people. So that's a pretty cool story there. I do love Moebius's line art, but without the rest of the story, it's hard to talk about it. But I think when I collect all the parts of a classic story, I'll probably try to do a full review of just that story. Anyway, up next, a story with this really nice soft art, you know, kind of contrast to the hard line art. But this is Rastaske, and you see this city there, but in this story, you talk about this group of people with this trident emblem on them, and they say that they found out that their enemy, the Rags, are religious and they don't carry guns after dark, so they're going to attack in the dark when they're weakest and take advantage of that. So it's a weird gang battle story. In addition to the soft art, you get these weird costumings and also some strange bits of language. Really kind of reminds me of a weird battle version of Clockwork Orange. So a crazy story there. Let me find you at least one of the pages where they're fighting, because that's a pretty cool bit. But yeah, lots of crazy stuff going on in this story, to the point where I thought maybe this was a part 2 and I just missed part 1. But no, Heavy Metal does all these stories where they come in with this big, super developed world and they kind of toss you into the middle of it. So who are these two people, groups, and why are they fighting? I don't know, but it's a crazy, weird battle Clockwork Orange story, and that's pretty interesting. Flipping right along, we get this thing. This is a weird story. So, Alfred Betts, The Stars, My Destination, and you get this story where a scientist discovers that most humans in states of duress can teleport, which they call jaunting, which has nothing to do with the Stephen King story called Jaunting, which is also about teleporting. Nothing to do with that. But you see that once they find that out, they start setting up jaunt tours, and there's of course a limit to how far people can jaunt. But then it cuts abruptly to a second story where you get this spaceman, and his ship is wrecked, and he's floating out in the middle of space, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's kind of stranded there. Now, what are the connections between the two stories? You think you know where this one is going, but the connection is so loose and stupid between this really long story about this spaceman floating in space and the jaunting stuff from the beginning. Like, at the very end where it finally does tie together, you're like, that's all it's gonna tie together? We have this whole big setup and this whole big other piece, and they don't really work. It's super weird. But if we flip to the beginning, a major event in illustrated science fiction, The Stars, My Destination. So apparently this is part of a larger novel or something, but it also, you know, so apparently we just got a piece of it, so maybe it connects better, maybe it's more fleshed out later on. I don't know, but apparently this is a piece of something larger based on this ad from earlier in the magazine. That being said, let's flip past that. It's a really long story, actually. And then after that, we get this really cool horror story, A Mass for the Dead. You get this old religious lady, and she's sleeping when she hears the church bells in the middle of the night, and she thinks, oh, I must have overslept church, but it really is the middle of the night and there's no one in the streets, but there are people in the church. It's a mysterious what's going on here, who's holding this mysterious mass, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't save this for a Halloween issue, but a cool, albeit short, really creepy story, and I really do like this, and the nice black and white line work, and it's all, crispy and stuff. Really a fun story. Really do love this one. And then after that, we get this double page art spread, which features this circle design, a castle, a man and a woman and his army behind him. So a cool, blocky woodcut style art piece here. It's pretty fun. I do like Heavy Metal, just throw random art pieces in the middle of the magazine. And then after that, there's one more of these little paintings. You get this dark and mysterious sorcerer here with his big candle, and he's making this sort of rip in time or something. He's on his chair. I do love random paintings, every now and then. And then up next, we get this story, Flop Sweat by Harlan Ellison. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of putting prose stories in the middle of a comic magazine. They take a long time to read, and there's such a big change of pace from comics. But that being said, Harlan Ellison, never mind. This is a really good story, and I wish more of the time when they put in prose stories, I wish they were more like this, because this is a really cool, well thought out story. Flop Sweat is basically when you're nervous about performing and you get a little sweaty. But this story is about this radio DJ who's interviewing this mysterious cult leader, and she's going to have a psychologist come on, and the two are going to debate each other. But they've been getting mysterious phone calls, supposedly from a local serial killer, and it all spirals into insanity. I really do like this story. It's a pretty fun story. And Harlan Ellison, he is the guy who did A Boy and His Dog, right? Pretty good author there. Up next, the part 2 of The Great Trap, and you see this beautiful woman getting ready and waiting for battle there. And you get a bunch of World War II style planes in space. So a pretty cool story. Again, part 2, so I don't know too much about what's going on right now, but pretty fun to see the spaceships, the airplane styled spaceships flying around there. That is pretty nice. So moving right along, that was The Great Trap part 2, and then we have another part 2, this Star Crown by John Poshik. So this is another illustrated text thing with pictures that correspond to it. And yeah, this is part 2, so I can't really get too much into the story, but there's the little spaceman walking beside the text. And this also is the part where the Heavy Metal subscription ad is. So the magazine keeps wanting to flip open to this page, where you see this guy holding a giant planet in his hand or something. So cool artwork, but I didn't read this. I'll read it when I get all the pieces to the story, then I'll read it all at once. Anyway, moving along to a pretty weird story. This is Exterminator 17, and you get your titular character here, Exterminator 17, and he's tied up in space by this cult there. And the cult basically believes that the souls were created by God and all things good, and matter was created by sin. So they're in the vastness of space to avoid matter, basically, and they don't like these android people. These androids are being enslaved, and they said they're matter, made from matter. It's the worst kind of thing. But he starts to debate, are the androids really bad? And a weird philosophical debate there. And then you cut to the people who are holding the androids captive, and they begin to see something mysterious on their radar. You know, I talked about Heavy Middle has all these stories that have these weird, super developed worlds, and it's just for one quick story, you know. So this is another one of those that really do feel like I'm coming in somewhere in the middle with all the big and crazy stuff going on. But yeah, Exterminator 17, they're a weird character. Overall, a cool story, but yeah, one of those big and weird ones where you feel like you're coming in from the middle. Let's see, what's after all that? Ah, yes. We get this ad for the Heavy Middle Alien stuff, and you see that in April they did a behind-the-scenes thing. So April 79, they did a behind-the-scenes for Alien, and then in May of 79, they started their 3-part Alien adaptation. So they actually did the original movie adaptation comic for Alien. So that's pretty cool, and it started in May of 79. So I really do like this ad, plus Dan O'Bannon had contributed to Heavy Middle, so really cool to see them adapting his movie. Up next, So Beautiful, So Dangerous, part or episode 6, and this is really nice, beautiful, soft artwork for this series. But if you haven't seen the movie, So Beautiful, So Dangerous is a section in the Heavy Middle movie. It's the one with the spaceship that looks like the smiley face. But the movie is a very, very trimmed down version of the comic book story, and I really can't wait to read it all. I've got to collect all the issues, obviously, and it's quite a long story, but you see how the aliens here look a little different than they do in the movie. But one guy that looks pretty much the same is the robot there with the big ears. But yeah, I really want to collect all the parts of this story to read it all at once, because they basically said when they made the movie it was too long, so they had to basically just focus on like 2 to 4 of the characters, you know. So I really do want to see what the whole of So Beautiful, So Dangerous is like. But yeah, there's the robot you guys all remember from that story. But I really am curious what the rest of it's like. And I mean, just the artwork alone is so nice. I want to read it for that. Plus, you know, as a fan of the movie, I want to see what all was going on there. And then our last story, 1996, which again at the time was a not too distant future, and now it's what, 23 years in the past, if I'm doing my math right, just quick off the top of my head. No, more than that, 25 years. Psh, I can't do math. But anyway, you get this guy going in, he's just getting out of prison, and he's having an interview with this doctor, and you can see they've implanted a chip in the back of his head, and it's a whole bunch of these questions like, you're not going to challenge the government, are you? Oh no. You're not upset about that chip in your head? Oh no, sir. So 1984 style, you know, government has too much control type story, and you know, really creepy and dark. So instead of 1984, it's 1996, and you get to see all these people kind of dress and look the same, and they're being taken over by an evil government there. You know, always do have to appreciate these stories about the warnings and the dangers of big government. Got to be careful about that. And last thing before we go, I just got to mention the Heavy Middle t-shirts ads. I really do like them. The Heavy Middle t-shirt, a knockout, and you see them playing space football against this bug here. it's really, really fun. I do always love these ads. You know, the heavy metal T-shirt ads are always weird and surreal and fun. But anyway, that being said, that was issue number 24, March of '79, Volume 2, issue 11, Volume 2, number 11. So, yeah, all in all, a pretty fun issue. A lot of stuff that were continuations in the middle, you know. But, you know, the original stories were pretty cool and crazy and wacky, and plus you gotta love the cover. And I do want to collect all the pieces of those individual stories as well, and eventually, you know, look at them as a whole. But anyway, really do love classic heavy metal. To everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom if you guys want to see more of my heavy metal reviews. I have both classic and new stuff in there, so if you guys want to see more heavy metal reviews, playlist on the bottom. Have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.